Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another of my classic film reviews. And today's classic film review is for the 1995 action thriller Outbreak, a film that is directed by Wolfgang Petersen and it stars Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, Cuba Gooding Jr., Donald Sutherland and Patrick Dempsey. Very good cast. Now this is obviously a very topical review, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, and this is a film that I used to own and watch years ago on VHS in the 90s when it came out, and it was a really good film that I really enjoyed, and it focuses on a viral outbreak that begins in Africa and spreads to a small American town. It's called the Matuba virus, I believe, and Dustin Hoffman is like a top scientist within the US Army, and it is his job to find out where it is and research it and try and find a cure for it. However, this virus then mutates, becomes airborne, and things become a little bit more desperate as the film goes on. Right, so what are my thoughts on Outbreak? Well, I think this is a really well made, fun film. It was a pretty decent box office hit at the time. It did particularly well at the box office. I remember there was a lot of big buzz around it. I don't remember going to the cinema to see it. I think I saw it first on VHS when it came out. And it, like I say, it's a film I've always enjoyed. Yes, there's an air of unbelievability about it. They've Hollywoodized it, if you like. If you compare this to the 2011 Contagion film, the Contagion film is a more realistic film than this. But there are aspects of this film that do stand up scientifically, and it when you watch it now, when you consider what's going on in the world, which I have just done a couple of days ago, it feels really relevant and real. And whereas they've hyped it up, they've given you a bad guy in this film. Donald Sutherland plays the classic, army general bad guy that he's trying to cover up his own mistakes in the 60s when he came across this virus and he kind of wiped out this small African village. And he tried to cover it all up. Well, it's the same disease that's come back, so he plays this big guy. He's really bad guy. He's trying to cover it all up, and a classic Donald Sutherland bad guy. Morgan Freeman is Dustin Hoffman's superior, and his lines between good and bad are very blurred, and he plays that role really well. And we've got obviously Kevin Spacey, Rene Russo. Rene Russo was a big star at the time. Kevin Spacey's star was just rising, and Dustin Hoffman, interestingly, was cast in this film after Harrison Ford turned it down. Apparently they wanted Harrison Ford. He turned it down because I think he was making, it could have been Clear and Present Danger at the time. So I thought that was interesting, and apparently he was a little bit insecure, Dustin Hoffman, playing the lead in this film because of that reason, because it was supposed to be a Harrison Ford film. And whereas obviously there is no comparison between Dustin Hoffman and Harrison Ford physically and screen presence wise and performance wise, Dustin Hoffman does a pretty good job in this film at carrying this film. He's obviously an incredible actor, and he does carry this film off really well, especially when it becomes really urgent and desperate, and his performance really carries that and you really believe it. So it's a different performance that what probably would have got from Harrison Ford. However, I would imagine Harrison Ford's star power, especially at the time, might have bumped this up a little bit more in regards to box office receipts, and you can't help wondering what this film would have been like with Harrison Ford in it. But that's not to say Dustin Hoffman's performance isn't enjoyable. Didn't necessarily buy the relationship between him and Rene Russo. They're supposed to be they're divorced in the film, but there's this little flame that's still there. Didn't really buy it. I didn't really buy their chemistry, but it's okay. And they really ramp up the tension and action near the end, and it does get very tense by the end, and it does a pretty effective job at doing that. And just the effects and the of this disease and things like that, it's especially when they say people think they've got the flu and all that kind of stuff, again it rings true to what's going on in the world today and stuff like that. And it's a really, really entertaining film that takes on a bit of a... You look at it with a slightly different viewpoint now. Certainly from when I used to watch it back in the day when I was younger, you didn't ever think anything like that could happen. And I'm not comparing the coronavirus to this thing. Of course I'm not. But it does kind of show you that, you know, this kind of thing can happen. So yeah, it's a really, really fun and entertaining film. A lot of people are talking about the Contagion film and how that really reflects what's going on today, and not as many people are talking about this one, Outbreak. Now this obviously you should only watch for entertainment purposes. It's not a documentary or anything like that. There are some good performances in it. We get a good early performance from Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's a really star-studded film. With some nice set pieces, some really nice performances. Yes, the script and dialogue's a little bit off and cheesy at times. It feels a little bit rushed, but it is still a fun and entertaining film, and it's certainly worth checking out as it carries more relevance. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's a good, probably longer than a decade since I last saw this film. But I watched it and enjoyed it, and I think certainly if you haven't seen it, I think you will find it very entertaining as well. So I've given it a solid 8 out of 10. Worth checking out if you've never seen it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this classic film review. Let me know in the comments if there's any kind of content you want me to focus on in the coming weeks, especially if you're self-isolating, all that kind of stuff, and I will see what I can do. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.